Boy, where you been? It's TeeJay, the artist. You rockin' with me. You are the smartest, and we back with another video, man. And we got Jimmy High Roller. When we get a Jimmy High Roller video, it's gonna be a good one. This one is titled, "He is the future of basketball." I'm pretty sure this is about Victor Wembanyama, the demigod himself, Victor Wembanyama. Let's get into the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Let's do it. Could you turn me up in the headphones a little bit?
What you're about to witness was one of the rarest occurrences to happen on an NBA court.
Okay.
The clock resets.
That's Shaq.
Shaquille O'Neal. Unbelievable. 19
Shaq Daddy.
For O'Neal. Get off the track.
That's Orlando Shaq. Shout out to Orlando Shaq, man. Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic. Listen, he left us though. We were supposed to have a championship. We've been, man, don't get me started.
Here comes Shaq.
A buzzer-beating
Shout out to Paulo Banchero
from Shaquille O'Neal. An otherwise awesome
Prince
shot,
Vano.
but in this particular case, it
Mo
was
Vano.
an absolute abnormality. Because throughout Shaq's 19-year career, he made 11,330 shots. The one you just watched was the one and only three-pointer.
Damn.
But this was back in 1996, when big men...
Oh yeah, big man wasn't shooting like that.
Three-pointers being virtual.
This is my era. This is my era of basketball. Bigs wasn't shooting. They were shooting mid-range, but they weren't shooting threes yet.
Off limits for them. Out of the 41 active 7-footers in the league that season, only 12 of them hit at least a single three-pointer. Only 7 of them hit multiple three-pointers, and Arvydas Sabonis was breaking the mold, hitting a whopping 39 threes throughout the entire season. More than every other 7-footer combined. But the league has changed a lot since 1996.
Yes, it has.
Sabonis' historic shooting season getting buried over the course of 3 decades of basketball evolution, with players like Dirk Nowitzki, Brook Lopez, and Karl Anthony Towns redefining what it means to be a
big shooter.
The ability to shoot the long ball transforming from essentially a cool gimmick for big men to almost a necessity in today's league. But it was Lauri Markkanen back in 2023 who set a new benchmark for just how lethal a big man can be from outside, sinking 200
trays
three-pointers in a single season. By far the most of any 7-footer in NBA history. At least it will be until the end of this season.
Oh,
because
Lord.
Victor Wembanyama is on pace to do this.
Jesus Christ.
And 43 pointers.
I told you it was a Victor Wembanyama video, man. 243 is projected to, and he be lacing that bitch too.
In a single season, a mark that completely laps even
obliterates
the big men shooters of all time. But Victor isn't just a 7-footer. He's one of the tallest players in the history of the league. If we limit the players on this graph to those at least as tall as Wemby, well, yeah.
Dang.
Victor Wembanyama is an aberration. A basketball singularity.
Wait, what about Manute Bol? How tall was he?
While also being the best defensive player on the planet. And yet, it's still not enough. Fans criticizing the big man, saying that his game is too soft and that his skill set doesn't match his size. Playing 25 feet away from the basket, almost in defiance of his size and physical advantage. Why is he all the way out there? The jaw-dropping displays of skills far too fine
spin
for a
move.
player his size.
Ooh, behind the back.
And all.
Lost the ball.
Why don't you try posting somebody up for a change? Wemby is already a generational talent, the potential to be one of the greatest of all time. But what's all that potential if you refuse to use it? Is Wemby's game falling victim to a league that has become infatuated with guard skills and the long ball? Or is he on the brink of completely altering the entire landscape of basketball and how the game is played?
He's a goddamn alien, first of all. Let's see what you got.
This video is sponsored by Factors Tea or Doors Have To. Their based option. I got my plus.
Off the dribble. A screen for Victor Wembanyama. Yeah, come out here. Yakum.
What in the NBA evolution did I just witness? There was a point in time, not very long ago,
Take this
where
with
if you
you.
told NBA fans there would be a 7'4" giant doing bag work and hitting crossover
One-legged
threes
three.
from 25 feet out, no one would believe you. And yet, here we are. Victor Wembanyama is really good, and everyone knows it. But no one, even generational talents like Wemby, are supposed to be this good this early. Because even compared to the greatest players of our lifetime, Wemby is on an early trajectory that we have never seen. Through 100 career games, more points than the all-time scoring leader, more blocks than the all-time blocks leader, and more threes than the all-time threes leader. It's like the
More points than LeBron James through 100 games, KD, Carmelo, Jason Tatum, Embiid, and Larry Bird. And more blocks than Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Rudy Gobert, Shaq, Dikembe, and AD. And then more threes than Steph Curry. You could just stop right there. Boy, you insane, bro. Victor Wembanyama.
Basketball gods wanted to play a sick game by creating an unfair
That's crazy.
player who can just do everything all at the same time. And once you compare Wemby's impact to other players in just their second season, the gap he has on everyone is almost unbelievable. Here are some of the greatest players of the last 2 decades and the progression through their first 2 seasons according to estimated plus-minus. Now, a -1 is about league average, so even players who got off to a relatively slow start, like Giannis, Shea, and Westbrook, were still on a positive trajectory early in their careers. Now, an EPM of 3.5 is about an All-NBA caliber season, so players like LeBron, AD, Luka, and Jokic were already stars in just their second season in the league. And then there's Wemby, who isn't just a superstar, but an MVP candidate in just his second season.
Oh,
These
Lord.
are the best.
All right, now he will not be an MVP candidate yet. Not this season. They got to start, they got to build a narrative. The MVP is a narrative-based award. People that's supposed to get it, probably not going to get it if they already have one. It's very, very weird. Somebody like Shaq and Kobe, they both have one MVP, but then Steve Nash got 2. Or maybe Jordan should have won more MVPs, but he won it too much. Or LeBron, who's been great for a very, very long time, but they like, you know what, we can't give him to it every year. So Wemby, just wait, and it's gonna be soon as one analyst, all it takes is one analyst to say it during the preseason, and then he gonna get it.
Best players across multiple generations of NBA basketball, and Victor Wembanyama is outpacing all of them by a long shot, already producing at a level that even the best players don't reach until their 4th or 5th season. Right now, Victor isn't competing to be the best young player in the league. He's quickly approaching the best players in the world. According to most advanced metrics, so far this season, Victor has been statistically a top 5 player in the NBA.
Oh, Lord.
Estimated plus-minus, for example, has Wemby as the 3rd most impactful player in the league this season, only behind Jokic and SGA. Now, Luka and Giannis are 2 of the top players of their entire generation in their prime, and Wemby is already impacting games at their level in just his 2nd season. We knew Wemby was going to be good if he could stay healthy and on the court. We knew he could be a defensive superstar just off of his physical tools alone. But no one on God's green earth knew this was a possibility. Because, quite frankly, it probably shouldn't be. Here is every single player in the NBA who has attempted at least 200 shots this season, mapped out according to their average shot distance on the x-axis and their height on the y-axis. And as you would expect, there's a clear correlation between how big players are and how close to the hoop
how close they shoot to the basket.
Big guys usually play near the rim, like Gobert
Makes
and
sense.
Gafford, who live right underneath it. The further out you go, the less height grants an advantage, and so typically you'll find the smaller players outside.
Then there's
Steph Curry
Wemby
and Peyton Pritchard. Of course, there are outliers. TeeJay McConnell is just 6'1", and yet his average shot distance resembles that of a power forward. Lauri Markkanen and Brook Lopez are
Steph at?
7-footers, but you wouldn't know it based
there
on
goes
the
Steph
fact
right
that
there.
the average of all of their shots is near the 3-point line. Where is Wemby in all of this?
way back
Well,
there.
he's right here, about a mile away from where you would expect the tallest player in the NBA to be, with shots that mirror a shooting guard. So far this season, Wemby's average shot is further out than some of the most prolific perimeter players like Harden and Luka. Anthony Edwards has attempted the most threes in the NBA this season, and even he is shooting closer to the basket than Wemby is.
Yeah, Ant-Man been shooting a whole lot. I hope he get back to his regular his regular game. If you go watch some of my highlights, not my highlights, but the game highlights with the Timberwolves, I talk about this during those games. It's like, bro, like your game is well, how do I say this? Your game is great when you are shooting the mid-range, getting to the basket and things like that. But some games, Ant-Man is strictly from the three-point line. I don't know if that's by design or what, but I like when he's in the mid-range and working to get towards the basket. You can shoot the 3 too, but some games I feel like he just be shooting solely from the three-point line. Those games I'm kind of like,
Karl Anthony Towns is in conversations as the best long-range shooting big ever, and Wemby is far closer to Steph than he is to Cat. It is mind-boggling. And yet, as incredible as this is, there's an equal amount of concern for the future of Wemby's career and the consequences of this playstyle. Victor is a part of a generation of players who are inheriting a league that has been taken over by outside play
three-point shots,
guard-like skill sets. We're watching this kid shatter records and bend the game in ways that we never thought were possible, and yet for some fans, his game isn't what it should be. Victor isn't.
We want him on the inside.
He's one of the tallest human beings on Earth. As cool as it is to see him hit step-back threes and do his best impression of a combo guard, it feels almost criminal that he isn't taking advantage of all of that size near the rim. A 7'4" giant with an 8-foot wingspan and the potential to be unstoppable near the rim, shooting just 20% of his shots within 3 feet and 50% of his shots.
Yeah, Wemby, like,
as one fan put it, Wemby took the KD route instead of the Hakeem route. The league should be elated.
He definitely did take the KD route.
Kevin Durant isn't quite the worst thing in the world, but considering who we're dealing with, it doesn't feel right for Wemby to be relegated to a hyper-lengthy, long-range bucket getter. In a league that continues to move further away from the basket, if there's one player we had hopes wouldn't lean into this new age of basketball, it was Wemby. But this assessment is all wrong. Wemby hasn't taken the KD route, and he hasn't taken the Hakeem route either.
You take the Wemby route.
He's doing both at the same time. Victor is already regarded by many as the best defensive player in the league, a title that takes even the greatest.
Now, I did say that he's not going to get the MVP this year, but he has a strong argument to get defensive player of the year. You getting about 3 blocks a game, bro? Oh, yeah. They gonna love that.
Defensive anchors years into their career to achieve. But that was the scouting report on Victor coming into the league. An era-defining defensive talent. The other stuff, competing, 3-level scoring, and the potential to develop his offensive skill set was all there, but only in flashes. The question being not if, but when he could elevate to a truly elite offense.
Injury potential, weaknesses, injury potential. Every single NBA player that was above 7'5" had injury problems. Vic has been durable this year, but betting against him getting injured is betting against history and potentially science. Why would you even wish that on him? Don't do that.
Talent. Of all the timelines people had in mind, I'm not sure if anyone considered the possibility.
Shades of Ralph Sampson, the best one. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Kevin Durant. Yes, I am serious.
That he would check off.
That was his shades of
those boxes just a season and a half into his NBA career. For some perspective, here are some of the greatest scorers in NBA history on a scale of points per possession. And here are the best defensive players in league history on a scale of defensive box plus minus. Now, being ultra elite on both sides of the ball is about the rarest thing in all of basketball, which is why on the scoring side, those defensive superstars fall here. And on the defensive side, those offensive superstars fall here. It's like some sort of intangible law of the game that keeps it balanced. Ben Wallace and Draymond Green could go toe-to-toe with just about anyone on defense. But Lord help us if they need to
score.
On the other hand, Iverson and Steph can score at will. But don't ask them to go down the other end and get you a stop.
Allen Iverson led in steals for 3 years. I just want to put that out there.
But there have been a handful of truly great two-way players, like Duncan, Hakeem, Kawhi, David Robinson, Giannis, and Michael Jordan. Oh, and of course, the giant freak of nature 21-year-old alien, who is already on his way to being the best two-way weapon the game has ever seen. But this is a 21-year-old Wemby, Compare him to these superstars in just their second season, and you're looking at a player who looks like a
Oh,
work of
Lord have
fiction.
mercy.
So remind me again what exactly the problem is with Wemby's game. Earlier this season, Victor was facing criticism for some of his performances.
NBA hater report. I said MB. Wemby is not a good shooter. Plus Anthony Edwards cat on opposite ends of 3-point epidemic.
Why would you ever be standing 25 feet from the basket throwing up bricks when you have the physical tools to drop the ball in the hoop without even jumping? As the season has progressed, so has Wemby's performances, and turns out watching a walking giant do this is actually really entertaining. But the initial criticism Wemby received from fans is a testament to just how far-fetched and rebellious his game is, and how fans of the NBA are reluctant to change until the change works. When Dirk Nowitzki first entered the league, and even during his rise to superstardom, he was often criticized for being soft, and that in a time of true dominant big men, he wasn't one of them. Part of this was the stigma around European players at the time, but a large factor was his play style. The concept of a 7-footer handling the ball, facing up, and living off of 15-foot fadeaways was just too odd for some fans to accept. Now looking back, Dirk Nowitzki was nothing short of an incredible innovator, ahead of his time. And the criticism, although some of it fair, was for the most part just
Dirk was disgusting, man.
a symptom of fans' reluctance.
Dirk also might have one of the best runs to get a championship I've ever seen, man. He beat Kobe, he beat these boys, then he finished with beating the Heat Big Three. It was crazy.
To accept something
Dirk different.
new and different.
He's the only one that really has an argument to have won a championship by themselves. I know that we try to make it seem like Jordan won by himself, but he had Scottie and Steve Kerr and Ron Harper and Dennis Rodman and Horace Grant. Like, he had a good collection of players. If you don't want to do that, you could say Dennis Rodman and Scottie. But then Kobe, you know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Kobe. He had Shaq, you know what I'm saying? Even Shaq, when he was in Miami, he had Dwayne Wade, you know what I'm saying? LeBron, he had all his boys that he was rolling with. The Heat Big Three, or Kyrie and what's the name, or AD, you know what I'm saying? Dirk, you know what I'm saying? You feel me? Like, yeah. He could be the only one that, even if you go way back in the championship portal, if you want to call it, Magic Johnson, go look at them teams. Them teams were souped up. Larry Bird, them teams were souped up. Isaiah Thomas, them things was souped up, bro. They try to make it seem like they ain't have no teammates. I wanted to beat Larry Bird. Yeah, you got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on your team. You got James Worthy on your team, of course. I ain't want a team with Larry Bird or Jordan. I wanted to beat those guys. Yeah, with your goddamn super team that you got over there. But Dirk might be the only one that can really say, if he wanted to, I did this by myself. Really, real deal. Go look at them rosters. He had Jason Terry on. He had a bunch of role players. It was Dirk and role players, and they cooked up.
Kevin Durant is on record saying he deliberately understated his height early on in his career because he knew if his listed height started with a 7, he would be labeled as a post player regardless of his
as a
skill
big
set.
man.
Sounds a bit crazy now, but with how people viewed the game 20 years ago, without this decision, we may have never got the chance to witness this player. Early in his career, Michael Jordan was told that ball-heavy guards do not win championships. The formula for winning was rooted in the big man, and history confirmed this theory.
True.
Around the same time, Magic and Isaiah Thomas were breaking the mold, winning titles and laying the framework for Michael to completely dismantle these previous outdated notions. And of course,
y'all just heard that? They basically just told Jordan he wasn't gonna be able to win. That's why they drafted him like that. They said that he was just gonna be a scorer. They didn't think that you could do that. So he didn't really have no expectations to win anything. I just want to put that out there because I know a guy that y'all get where I'm going with this. That had expectations since he got in, but
no one believed three-pointers could be the key piece to winning a championship until the Warriors
did
history
it.
Books and forever changed basketball with the three-pointer. No one wants change until it works.
Until it
The
change.
only problem is you will never know if it works or not until someone
Until
comes
it
in
work.
and wipes away all doubt. Victor Wembanyama is in the process of doing just that. Recently, while on the Bill Simmons podcast, Kirk Goldsberry talked about how unpredictable the progression of basketball can be and how the next phase of the NBA may be centered around the skilled big man.
The 2010s were about small ball.
Hopefully.
Halfway through.
Hold on real quick, y'all. All right.
The 2020s here, Bill. And we might call it skill ball, I think, because even the big dudes like Jokic and Embiid and Wemby, like name a center from 2004 or 1994. Could they do anything that Jokic do? Maybe Rasheed Wallace. There were some guys that were super skilled that could shoot the ball and pass and dribble.
Well,
but
it's basically Rasheed. Rasheed was the guy everyone pointed to and said, "Oh my God, this guy, he can shoot from outside, he can post up," and we held him up to this crazy level, and he was like 16 points a game.
This generation does everything. Everybody does everything. Dribble, pass, and shoot. And skill has never been this high. And Wemby is giving us a very clear next up. Everything is clicking. You know, he was very hyped like LeBron coming in. But I think Victor Wembanyama is poised to be the next greatest player in the NBA at some point in the next 5 years.
5
Looking back
years?
at how basketball has changed over the years, it only makes sense that towering players with versatile skill sets would be the next step in the game's evolution. Almost a direct counter to the small ball era that preceded it. And Victor is well aware of this. As he put it, the best way for me to help is to not put me in a box. We know we are going to make something original, something special. Coaches and staff within the Spurs organization encouraging Victor's departure from positional norms, knowing that allowing him to play his game won't stunt his potential, it will help him reach it.
That's true.
It doesn't make sense that Wemby can drill 30-footers, or get into his bag, or tell his guards to come set screens for him. We like our bigs to play big. I mean, usually we like our bigs to play big. Wait, hold on, that was actually kind of sick. Okay, well, height is just a number, but you gotta take advantage of it. We've heard it all before. Declarations that all made sense until the next evolution of basketball was staring it in the face. Any attempt to define Wemby's game or compare him to another player, past or present, will leave you empty-handed. He and his skill set do not compute. They are illogical. He isn't just really good, he is really good in a whole new way.
Yeah.
We are witnessing the future of basketball. And if you didn't like the idea of a guard anchoring your team, if you didn't like the idea of 7-footers popping out and taking long jumpers, and if you didn't like the three-point revolution, then you sure aren't gonna like what this guy ends up doing.
Yeah, he finna cook up for real, for real. That was another good one from Jimmy High Roller. Listen, Wemby is amazing. If you ever watch a game, you're going to say, what the hell am I watching, bro? You're going to say that a couple times watching Wemby play, because Wemby's good, bro. If you have not seen a Wemby game, go watch one. Just one. Even in the games that he don't score that much in, he's still doing something in them games, bro. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Peace.